what we're doing. Full body mobility. We're going to do everything. We're breaking the mold, and we're just going to get the full head to toe of us loosened off in an hour. So obviously we won't be spending any specific time on a key area. All I've done is basically I'm going to pick the best stretches that I think are going to target each area and get stuck into them and then move on to the next. So without further ado, let's go. We're going to start with our usual full body mobility. Exercises to mobilize your spine, not my spine, your spine. So we're going to walk out, going to do our posterior chain stretch, downward dog, whatever the hell you want to call it. But we're all grown-ups, okay? We're all individuals, we're all different. So you make the most of this stretch any way you can. And what I mean by that is, go wide with your legs, go narrow with your legs, go shoulder width with your legs. Whatever feels like needs the most work, whatever's feeling the most tight, it's up to you to try and target that area, okay? So I really want you to focus on making this specific to where you're feeling it the most. Good, I'll move around to the side. Keep holding it, keep holding it. I'm just checking, I have got the microphone on, thank goodness. Thank goodness I've done something right this morning. Right, so I'm going to transition as always, up on top of my arms, and then I'm slowly going to lower those hips down and just slowly start extending the spine into overextension. Okay, and again, this is a great one if your core's feeling a little bit tight, hip flexor area is feeling a bit tight, you're just trying to push through. But again, if the lower back's feeling pretty tied up tight, just be careful. Ease yourself in gently, and again, I'm conscious, of course I'm conscious. I think maybe I'm not. I don't even know what I'm saying. I think I ruined the whole vibe of chilling out by talking through this and talking crap. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to push my hips through forwards, okay? Rather than down towards the ground, think about pushing through. And then I'm coming back up, and again, play around with your stance, okay? So you can go a wee bit wider and push more. See where you're feeling that. Does that feel like you're getting a better stretch? Does something feel more tight? No. Bring them a wee bit closer. More probably, it doesn't matter who you are, if you go pretty damn close, you'll feel a hell of a stretch on your calves, but don't go there because we're going to be targeting them later. Try and get a nice balance between everything on this one. Okay, pushing back, pushing back, pushing back, actively going further and further and further and further. Pushing that chest towards the ground, the head through the arms. And then I'm coming back up again. And this is just a good one to start any routine with. I'm a big fan of this transition. These two ones put together. We get that full body woken up. Okay? Maybe that's what some of you are needing. Good, and then I'm going to come back up this time. I'm lifting those hips up. I want you to place the feet just a wee bit wider because now we're going to introduce our ankle grabs. Okay, so we're going to simply maintain the form that I'm holding already, and all I want you to do is focus on pushing your hips back and trying to reach through and grab your ankle with a brief pause and a brief stretch, okay? So look at the position of my body. I'm not letting my legs go in, okay? I'm not twisting, I'm not bending my knees. I'm simply trying. I'm holding the main stretch, but I'm enhancing that stretch all the more by trying to reach and grab my ankles. Now, as I've always said with this one, try to hold good form rather than let your form go to get to your ankle. So hold your form, go as far as you're able to, reach through. Okay, if you can't reach it, don't worry about it. I can't reach mine. But it's a work in progress. Okay, and then I want you to walk in, stand up tall, shake out, get a bit of water on board. Good, and then grab your mats because we're going to go down onto the kneeling position now. So keep that water on board. And again, just try and chill out. So I'm going to go for my cat and cows, apparently. Apparently, if we're speaking correctly. Just getting on all fours. So we're going to mobilise the spine more. Okay. That's all I'm doing. I'm getting on all fours, feeling like I've got the weight distributed between my knees and my hands evenly. And then all I want you to do for the first part is just slowly start pushing the hands into the ground to splay the shoulder blades apart. Now I want you to think about your lower back. I want you to pull that lower back up as well. So I'm pushing up, pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. And you'll know exactly what I mean about making sure you're bringing your lower back into it when you realise that you've done it. Because I'll show you, I can arch the upper back up, and then that lower back, the hips are still sat where they are, but then I start to bring the hips in, lift them up too. And just imagine that from the centre of your back, okay, someone's tied a rope and they're pulling it up, but your knees and your hands are glued to the ground. So that centre part is getting pulled up almost like you're trying to arch. Well, cat and cow, I presume it's like a scared cat. You've all imagined like a scared cat in a cartoon. Okay, that big spine's curved up. Yeah. That's what we're trying to replicate. And then I'm coming back down the opposite way now. So now I'm pushing my chest through and I'm trying to arch my back the way. Okay, and I want you to put your head back, but be gentle with it, okay? Break yourself in gently into these, test and adjust. And where you're feeling that, again, is dependent on you, but you'll probably feel it somewhere around your upper mid-back. I want you to focus on your breathing. Big deep breath in, big deep breath out, and you'll often find that when you breathe out, you enhance the stretch more. Good, and then I'm coming back up again. Pushing those hands in. Again, each time just try and go a wee bit further, but again at the same time be completely sensible with it. As in, don't go hurting yourself. Good, and then I'm coming back down again. So again, with these, I'm actively trying to take them further and further throughout the hold. I'm not just holding it at a point and just chilling out. I'm trying to take it further and further and further. And we're going to go for one more up. Focus on that breathing. Try to relax, but at the same time, push yourself through it. Good. One more extension. Last one. And then we're going to start adding some rotations in and get that thoracic spine nice and mobile while we're down here. Okay, so like I say, we're going to go for a full body overhaul this morning. So if you're feeling a bit sore, a bit tight, right, you can shake the hands out if you like, because you've spent a bit of time on them. They might be sore wrists. Shake them out, let the blood flow, and then we're back down. Same position, same setup. This is the one where we're going to start adding the side rotations in. Now, when we do this, we're getting the fingertips onto the temple, and we've got that arm parallel to the ground. And then if you watch my hips before you just get straight into it, my hips are staying fixed in position. When I start to lift, I don't start to lift the hips. See the difference? I've lifted the hips there, I've lost that position. I'm trying to keep the rotation in my upper back, in my thoracic spine, okay? That mid-back area, that's where I want the rotation in. Now, you're going to get to a point in which you feel you can't go any further. I want you to make sure that you're pulling the elbow back, you're keeping the shoulder blades squeezed together, continue to rotate, fight through it, fight through it, fight through it, then relax, come back down, just to ease out of it. And each time you go up, you're just trying to go a wee bit further, okay? But on this one, this is one of those movements that feels like it's impossible to go further. You'll feel yourself get to a point, you can't go any further and it'll feel like you're stuck as if you're not meant to go that far. That's why we need to pause, push through, try and take it a wee bit further. Good, and we're just going down under control just to rest it out. We're coming back up and we're certainly not trying to go up powerful, okay, it's slow. Okay, I'm trying to keep those hips down. Just think simply about rotating. You're trying to get the chest round to the side, okay? Good. Fantastic. So again, trying to go further each time. Good, and once you feel you've done a good few, roughly around about 10, 8 to 10, change arms. Okay, I'm going to turn them face this way so you can see me from a different angle. Same idea. Okay, get yourself nice and parallel to the ground, fingertips on temple. So I'm trying to pull my shoulder blade together, shoulder blades, and I'm just introducing that side twist. Okay, but I get to that point I'm sticking at, I'm trying to pull my elbow back further, shoulder blade squeezed, come back down. Squeeze, pause, try and push through it. Good. And just focus on that rotation, because that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to rotate. The other hand that's on the ground supporting you, drive it into the ground. So not all mobility and flexibility is nice chilled. Okay, you might well be working up a sweat on this one. We're definitely trying to mobilise now. Good, and again, once you feel pretty happy with that, shake out, get a wee drink of water, keep sipping it on board. Nice chilled recovery session, good. And then now we're going to do our back stretch with lats. We're going to attack this part here. You might feel it in the chest, you might feel it in the shoulder, you might feel it in all those places. I'm going to do it against my bench, so this is where you're going to need something elevated, your sofa, anything. It doesn't need to be as high as my bench, as I always say. I'll get straight into it now, so that way you know exactly what you need. So all I'm doing, I'm looking for a raised surface to place my elbows on. Okay, doesn't matter how high it is. Well, it does. It can't be too low. But the idea being, and you'll see exactly why now, I need a raised area so that I can get my head through and get an enhanced stretch. Otherwise, my face is just going to hit the ground here, okay? So get yourself onto your sofa, bench, plant pot, step, anything, any raised surface. It doesn't need to be significantly high, okay? It just so happens that I'm in a gym and there's a bench here, and that's the best thing for me. So I've got my elbows on. Now, when you're on the ledge of the bench, this is where you need to get right to the edge, and you're not on your elbows anymore, you're on the triceps. All I'm doing is simply trying to position my body so that all my weight's going through those arms and I'm getting a good stretch. Now you have to relax a wee bit because you might find you're fighting it. And this is as simple as it is. All we're going to do is hold, but I want you to really focus on your breathing. Deep breathing in, deep breathing out. Okay, and I'm not resting my head on whatever you're raising it on, raising your arms on. I'm trying to push through. I'm trying to let gravity stretch me out on this one, and you know exactly what I mean. Okay, so your arms are supporting, all your body weight's kind of going through those arms on your raised surface, and now gravity's just kind of pulling me down through. Where do you feel it? You're going to feel it most probably right outside the armpits on your lats, those big back muscles. You're going to feel it maybe in your shoulder joint. You might even feel it a bit in your chest here, okay? Going up into the triceps also. It really depends how tight you are. Now, with someone with decent mobility, you're going to feel a good stretch on this. Someone with not so good overhead mobility, you're going to feel a hell of a stretch on this, and you might not be in the position I'm in. You might be way up here. You might not even be able to get that head through because it's so tight, but all I want you to do is hold the position in which you're sticking at, relax, focus on your breathing, and just become dead weight and let gravity pull you through. This is an easy one because it requires no effort other than just trying to breathe and focus on not focusing on the discomfort, okay? Because this can be pretty uncomfortable, and it certainly is for me right now. It can be difficult sometimes to relax, but it's just trying to disconnect. Good. Now feel free to continue holding this if you just get into it a lot after me, but I'm coming out of it now, shaking out. Okay, but feel free if you need a few more seconds because you were late to the party, get on it. So there we are, that's your overhead mobility. That's a tough one, that is. Now I can tell you now, you'll feel it maybe here, but you'll most definitely probably feel it on the shoulder joint as well. Now, when you say agony, it's discomfort I hope you're feeling and not true pain. As in shooting pain, etc. That's not bad, we know about that. But discomfort, it is a, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. You will not in pain. It's a pretty hard one, So we've got our overhead mobility, as I always tell you about, and that's the one area that 9 times out of 10 people that come through the door need work on, because we don't do a lot of things like this day to day. So we end up spending more time sat, bad posture creeps in, gravity pulls us forward. So we get a lot of tightness in the upper body, okay? And it's not until you actually put your arms above your head that you'll maybe feel that, because you'll struggle to get them straight above your head, because when you do, you end up looking like this, okay? So there is a lot of tightness in there, and even for someone like myself who does a lot of work on overhead mobility and is always testing it, that's still uncomfortable. That's what I was saying, that's still uncomfortable. So for someone who needs a bit of work on their mobility, you're going to find a lot of discomfort in that, and you're going to struggle to push through it. But again, like I say, it's taking it to the point in which you're starting to struggle. Not starting to struggle, you're starting to feel you're at your limit and just trying to take it further and further and further, and you'll get there. I hope that makes sense, Leslie. That makes sense? That answer your question? Right. So yeah, like I say, with all these stretches, you might be able to take it further than me, because I'm certainly not in a great position with all my mobility and flexibility. Decent, but not brilliant. But then you might be not able to go into these positions that I'm going into. You might only get so far. And as I keep saying every time, it's just like fitness. You're progressing. Each time you do them, you're trying to take it a wee bit further than you did last time, and your mobility should be getting a wee bit better than it did last time. And then hopefully, over time, you're able to get into these positions. Right, we're going to get into chest. Before we do though, I want you, crowd participation, to tell me what one you want. We're either going to go for the fingers interlocked down onto the arms, getting the chest working here, or we're going to lie down and pin the arm and twist away from it like we would do against the wall. So someone on live, give me the vote please. Whatever one suits you, no pressure, but you better give me an answer. Someone please.
Beach towel one?
No, not beach towel one. I just gave you two options and that was not one of them.
That's not that one.
No, I never mentioned beach towel at any point. Fingers interlocked behind your back, sitting down on them. Remember that one? It's like the crab one. There's no beach towel there. What are you on about? You want that one, do you? Or, oh, forget it. Right, we'll do that one then. The beach towel one that's got nothing to do with a blooming beach towel. Right. Right, so we're sitting down, everybody. Sitting down, we're chilling out. I'm going to get my arms behind me. Okay? Don't interrupt me, Leslie. I'm going to get my arms behind my back and I'm going to interlock my fingers. So my palms are facing out and I've got my fingers interlocked. And then I'm just simply going to fall back onto my forearms. So my forearms and my elbows and my hands are on the ground. Yep, so the whole forearm, fingers still interlocked. Bring the legs up, okay? And then this is about keeping the whole arm, the whole forearm flat on the floor. Yep, and then shifting the bum away and keeping the chest up until you start to feel a stretch in, I would say, chest-shoulder area. Okay, it really depends, again, on your mobility, how much you feel it. For me, again, I'm feeling it already. And it's important that you don't go too far with your bum. Okay, so don't shift your bum too far too soon away from you. So I'm starting up here, feeling a bit of a stretch, move it down a fraction. Each time I do, I should be enhancing the stretch, okay? So again, no sight of a beach towel anywhere, but A up, whatever works for you. Whatever helps you remember it. So again, it's important you're trying to push the chest up, but not into a stress position here. We're still trying to relax. You should be feeling the stretch on your chest, shoulder, more kind of specifically where your chest would attach. So you'll feel it right up the top, in at the shoulder. Once it feels like you've been holding it a wee while, take it a wee bit further. So shift the bum further down, and when I say shift, I mean an inch or two, not far at all. Shift it towards your feet, yep. And I'm trying to push up through without turning it into a stress position. And what I mean by that is we shouldn't be shaking. Muscles shouldn't be getting tired because we're trying to support ourselves. My elbows are driving into the ground, my chest's up proud, and everything else is just trying to chill. So it's a good one. Again, if your mobility's pretty decent, you'll find this all right. You'll find this refreshing. Yep, you'll find it as, that's quite nice. If your mobility's not the best, you'll probably find this pretty uncomfortable. So that's where you have to control it, okay? So now I'm going to go down a wee bit more with the bum. And this is where I would say I'm probably at my limit, because if I shift any more, I'm probably going to start rounding my back to the point which I'm not going to feel a good stretch and those shoulder blades are going to be undone. Okay, but you're in control. You know the feeling that you're getting, yep. So whatever you can do to enhance that stretch, that's what you do. Okay, so if you lost the feeling, go back, find it, get back on it. Last shift, so keep going. We'll go for another 20 seconds and then we'll get out of this one. So this should be you now at the point in which you feel, right, I can't really get much more out of this. I'm taking it as far as I possibly can. Good, and I'm going to come out of this slowly. Just be careful. Get out of it. Get back on your feet. Let the blood flow. Shake your arms out. And again, hopefully you felt that one regardless of your mobility. Right in there, we usually get it. Yep, right in there. Yep, good. Throw your arms back. Just let the blood flow. Shake it out. Regulate yourself. Get a sip of water. And let's move on to the next one. So, we're not going to bother with the little muscle groups, your biceps, triceps, forearms, etc. because that will save that for an upper body session. We're doing everything. So now we're going to get into the hips, working our way down. I'm going to get into a kneeling groin stretch, okay? Needs no introduction. It's pretty simple what we're trying to do with this one. It's a bit uncomfortable, but again, you're in control. So what am I doing? I'm getting on my knees, nice and wide with the knees. Again, try to keep the foot behind the knee, as in don't be like this. Clear difference, yep. All I'm doing now, I like to get on my elbows for this one, okay, because I'm not putting much weight on my elbows here, okay? You can see I'm easily lifting these. Most of the weight's on my knees, okay? So I'm trying to pull my knees apart. Now my hips, I'm trying to push them back, that way, okay? Try not to let everything start to arch, if you get my point. So it's almost like you're trying to squat, pull the knees apart, take it to the point first, so that's me at that point. Take it to the point in which you feel oofed, okay? As soon as you think to yourself, right, this is pretty uncomfortable, I can't really go much further. What you do with your arms is up to you. You can have them out in front of you. Like I say, personal preference, I just like them here, so don't feel you need to do this if it doesn't feel good for you. You can have your arms out in front if you like. I just like this. It lets me focus on just putting all the weight into those knees and just focusing on that groin stretch. So I'm trying to take it further and further and further. Okay, we're going to be holding this for about 3 minutes. Okay, so don't just hold it in this position. After 3 minutes, you should be significantly further than where you are now. Okay, now all we do with this, I just simply try to keep the weight rested on my knees, sink the weight into my knees, sink the weight into the ground, and just shift back another inch or two. Focus on my deep breathing. Shut your eyes, chill out, relax into it, and just try to disconnect from that discomfort, because there's no denying it. This one can get pretty uncomfortable, but it's a good one. It's worth the discomfort, because we've got a lot of tightness in there. So again, just work through it, then I'll stop talking. I'll give you the call when we've got about 30 seconds left, but from now until then, keep working through it, keep taking it a wee bit further. Just in case you think my connection's dropped and I've frozen. Good. Right, 20 seconds and we're going to be out of this one. So this is the point in which you're now trying to take it to the fullest point you possibly can without injuring yourself, so be sensible, please. When you're done, slowly start easing out of it. Slowly, gradually, okay, because it's going to be uncomfortable. And again, just like the rest of them, get yourself up. Walk around, shake out. Okay, so that's a damn good one. Big fan of that one always. Okay, because that's where we got a lot of tightness, and that's getting straight in there. It's using more body weight to get down and get that groin a good stretch out. Now, we're going to get another favourite. The Olympic wall squat. Okay, we're glutes. We're going to use the wall. It's the wall variation of our glutes. You'll feel this a lot in your lower back probably as well if it's feeling a little bit tight. It's a good one. So you need a wall. It'll work if you've got a solid bench or a solid chair. like I've got, but a wall is superior. So don't think that because I'm using a bench, the bench is the best thing. A wall is the best thing because you can position your foot anywhere you damn well please. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to get nice and side onto my wall, bench, whatever. Okay, you need a solid platform that you can put your foot up against. So I'm up against it and get nice and close, and then all I want you to do when you're nice and close is spin round, put one foot on it, get the other leg, cross it over, and it's just like you would be reading the newspaper on a Sunday, okay? On a Sunday, whatever, right? So the purpose of the wall, as you can see, is to simply put my foot against. Now the reason we got so close to the wall by sitting side onto it is so that I can get myself nice and close to the wall. Now, if you look at, well, you don't need to look, but my hips are off the ground, my tailbone's off the ground, and my lower back's off the ground. That's because I'm close to the wall. If I was further away from the wall, that would be flush. My lower back would be touching the ground, which is not what we want, because then we can't take it further, okay? So the reason why we get nice and close is because we have plenty of room to work through. Now, I'm going to tell you to try and get your tailbone, hips towards the ground, push it towards the ground, but you're probably not going to be able to get it there. And that's not a bad thing, because I want you to be able to continue working through a range. Now, it's up to you what you do here, but I would encourage you to push this knee gently away from you. So push it away from you, just gently, you don't need a lot of pressure, while you pull your hips down. So I'm trying to push my hips and tailbone down towards the ground while pushing this knee. While again, I'm just trying to relax. You don't need much pressure on this knee, it's just to stop it lifting away. Now, where you feel this most is up to you, it's not up to you. It's dependent on where you're feeling it most tight. So this is a glute stretch. Yep, we're going to feel it in the glutes, but then you might feel it a lot in the lower back, okay? So if the lower back's feeling pretty tight, that's definitely where you'll feel it also. And this is why this is a good one. I like this one. Brings the lower back into it a lot if it's pretty tight, while also giving the glutes a good stretch out. Now, another variation of this now is what I want you to try is to get the same knee, and instead of pushing it, I want you to pull it. I want you to pull it towards your opposite shoulder, okay? So I've got my right knee, I'm going to try and pull it towards my left shoulder. And again, you could probably do this with 2 or 3 fingers. You don't need a lot of pressure, but as soon as I push that a little bit, I feel it right sweeping across my butt, okay? So we're targeting a different muscle group here, and while you're doing that, you're just trying to gently pull the knee, but sink those hips down, okay? So the same principle applies. We're just pulling this knee now towards us. Good, and then I want you can just simply change legs here, okay? If you're feeling you need a break, stand up, chill out, but you can just simply change legs. Unless, of course, you've ended up miles away from the wall. So if you've pushed yourself away from the wall, you're going to have to get side onto the wall again. So I've got this foot pinned on the wall, leg across, and then like I say, it's a simple case of just trying to push the hips towards the ground while pushing this knee away from you. So we're going to feel the glutes getting it. You're going to feel it maybe in the groin, and you'll probably feel it in the lower back, okay? But again, if you feel your lower back or tailbone is able to touch the ground, you're too far from the wall, so you need to get side on and get nice and close to it again. Same thing, I'm just pushing that knee, pushing it away from me while pushing the hips down, sinking the hips towards the ground. Good, just trying to relax into it, ease that stretch out. Take it further. Good, and now for the second part, again, I'm going to pull the knee. So I'm just going to get a hand and I'm just going to pull it gently, foot towards the opposite shoulder, while pushing those hips down. And again, that should target us a wee bit differently, and you'll feel that right across the butt. Good. Slowly ease out of that one. Good work. Right, get up, shake it out, walk it out, get a bit of water on board. Hey, we're getting there. So hopefully, head to toe, you're feeling good from head to hip area almost. Now coming out of that, you might just feel your lower back is a wee bit tight. So that's what I mean, walk around, shake it out, do some toe touches, but don't worry, we'll be getting onto the hammies as well. So that'll take that away. What are we getting on to now? Hip flexors. Another common tight area. Another one that if it is tight, it's going to affect us. We're going to feel like the lower back's going to be pretty tight. Whole hip area is pretty tight, and it's going to affect our posture and how we hold ourselves. So it's an important one. You need a coach. You need a coach. You don't need a coach. You need a couch. You need a sofa, or you need a chair, or something raised like a wall and a good cushion. If you've only got one mat, like I say all the time, fold it up until it's nice and thick. So all I'm going to do is get myself against my bench again. I've got a bench. It's because that's all I've got. Okay, but a bench works well. In fact, a bench is probably one of the better things. So if you've got a solid chair or something that's not going to shift, this is what I'm doing with it. Okay, so whatever works for you, you can put it up against the wall. Now, when you're positioning the knee, position the knee pretty close to the wall, okay, because it defeats the purpose if you've got that foot raised and then the knee's like miles away from the wall and you end up with 45 degrees in your leg. So I want you to get the knee pretty close to the wall, get that foot up, and then all we're going to do is get this other leg round. And for the first part for everyone, and this, where you go with this stretch is dependent on your mobility, okay? So first part is just getting into this position, okay? Now, if your mobility is not the best, you may well be feeling this already. Yep, and that's fine. All I want you to do is get your hands on your pelvis and try and find your pelvis bones, your hip bone, okay? And just try to get yourself in line. So if you're feeling pretty off center, just try to find the hip bone and just try to kind of pull them until they're central. Once you've got that, then start pushing the hips through and start bringing yourself up vertical. But if you come up too fast too soon, if I just go like this, because I'm real tight here, my pelvis is now sitting like this, okay? So I'm getting pulled to this side, which, you know, yes, you're getting a stretch, but you're lopsided. So we're trying to get ourselves nice and level as best you can with the pelvis, and then start bringing yourself up, okay? Now, what you do with this foot's up to you. You need to position it in a way that's allowing you to get good stretch. We're focusing on this leg. So you're going to feel it anywhere from the quads into that hip flexor. Now, what I'm trying to do, again, keep your pelvis pretty neutral and balanced, and I'm trying to push through. Okay, so I'm trying to push the butt through, which is going to stretch out my hip flexors. Okay, so I want you to imagine your pelvis is sitting like this just now, and all I'm trying to do is push it through by pushing my butt through. Okay, so I'm sitting there with an angle. I'm trying to completely make that 180 degrees. Okay, yeah, that is right. Go. So you work through it, just like the groin stretch, you're working through it. You're trying to get up there, but don't rush to the point once you've lost that pelvis being nice and balanced, okay? We don't want to end up being lopsided and getting pulled off to the side and feeling a load of pressure on one side of our hip. So you're trying to find it. And again, you might still be here and you're getting a hell of a stretch, okay? And that's fine. As long as you're pushing through and getting a hell of a stretch, eventually you'll be able to get up a bit more, okay? So just keep trying to work with it. Keep trying to take it further. And again, consciously think, am I pushing my butt through? Am I trying to iron out those hips? Yes. Okay, because you know you will, because you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. Good. Okay, we're going to come out of that one and we're going to change legs. Again, be prepared. It's perfectly normal to have one. Not always. There's always imbalance, okay? And imbalance is just part of it. You might well find that one side's a lot tighter than the other. So you might find this side's a lot tighter or a lot easier to get into than the other side. But like I say, position that knee fairly close to the wall, bench, or whatever you've got that foot elevated on. And then all I want you to do for the first part, find the hips, try to get yourself in line, and then work yourself up to be vertical and push the hips through, okay? So then I'm up. Okay, this side feels a wee bit easier, but not much. Just a wee bit. Again, for the first part, you might not even feel it in your hip flexor. You might feel it more in your quads. If your quads are pretty tight, you'll feel it more in the quads instead of the hip flexor, of course, on the other leg. So I'm pushing the hips through. Okay, so I'm able to get up vertical on this one pretty quickly. Another one was a bit tighter, took me a wee while to get from this position. But you might well be still here or here. You know, all I'm saying is it doesn't matter as long as you're trying to push through and you're working through your limit. So push that butt through, get that hip flexor, stretch it out, push the butt through. You'll feel a hell of a stretch if you do, and that's what I'm trying to get from this, okay? Pushing through, pushing through, pushing through always. And you can make this one pretty uncomfortable too, but you have to actively be pushing that butt through. Okay, so our next stretch is going to be our hamstrings. So now I want you to either think about where the hell you put your resistance band or where your big bath towel is. And I want you to go and grab it now, okay? So resistance band or towel, it doesn't matter. If you're going to use a towel on this one, it's just better if you use a longer towel because it's going to be a less of a stress position for you trying to hold a short towel. I've got a resistance band, so I'm going to be using my resistance band. But like I say, with this one, doesn't really matter. It's better with a resistance band, I think, purely because you can really relax into it a bit more. It's a bit easier to relax into this one with a resistance band because obviously a towel has no flex in it. So you're going to find that you're under a bit more of a stress position holding that towel, but it's not the end of the world. Don't feel if you've got a towel you're not getting as good a stretch because you most definitely are. Right, hamstrings. Okay, so this is where if you were probably feeling it a wee bit tight on that area on our wall glute stretch that we've done two ago. This will help iron that out. Hamstring stretch, this is the best one in my opinion. In fact, before I crack on, I better hit that record button again just in case. Because every mobility class I do recently, I've made an arse of it. Right, okay, so hamstrings, down, sitting down, legs out in front of us. I'm simply going to get this and hook it around the ball of my foot, okay? The ball of my foot. Now the purpose of this, what is the purpose in this resistance band? You're pulling the resistance band down, which is going to pull your toes towards you. So that's the purpose. Don't fight it, don't push your toes into the band. Relax so that the band's pulling your toes. Now also, it's going to give us an easier time of trying to keep this leg straight, okay? So at no point in this stretch do I want that knee to bend. Keep the knee locked out. The leg that's not getting stretched out, I want you to keep that completely straight on the ground. Don't let the knee lift off. Stop laughing at me, Leslie, right? And then you wonder why you get a hard time making me self-conscious. Right, okay, so the leg that's not getting stretched out, it's resting on the ground. Do not lift the knee. Now, if you're using a resistance band, get right up high and get a good pull of it. If you've got a towel, you do what you need to do to get a good stretch. So all I'm doing is I'm completely locked that leg out. I'm falling back until I can feel that I'm at a lift. Yep, there. Okay, so you're going to feel it straight away. Now, bear in mind, you might well be here feeling like hoofed. Can't go any further. Okay, and I'm up here. You might be following me. Everybody's different. As long as you're at that point now where you're feeling like you can't really go any further, this is where I want you to make sure that that foot's completely relaxed into the band, as in you're not pushing against the band with the toes or the towel. My knee's locked out, and now from this point onwards, I'm just simply trying to take that foot and that leg and move it further and further back, and this is where you just have to zone into it and go for it, okay? Because this can be pretty uncomfortable. Get the knee locked out. Get the knee locked out. That's better, Leslie. Having a laugh. Feel like this. What's the point? Might as well go back to sleep. Get the knee locked out. Good. At all times. So what you have to be conscious of is as I'm moving this leg back the way, and when I say back the way, I mean I'm moving it from here to here to here to here to here to here, okay, is that you're always keeping the knee locked out and you're always keeping those toes relaxed. So again, it just looks, because it's such a slow process, it'll look like I'm just holding this in the same position, but I'm not. I'm actively just taking it a wee bit further. Oft feels horrendous, feels like a damn good uncomfortable stretch. So I hold it there, I focus on my deep breathing, and then eventually it leaves off a wee bit, so I take it further, and I repeat that process now for the next minute or so. So you can really go for this one. You can really go for it, and be aware that you can go for it and you're probably not going for it. So try to push through it and get a good damn stretch. Best hamstring stretch in my opinion, this one. It's a good one, damn good one. And with a resistance band, you can just relax a bit more. With a towel, you probably find your arms get a wee bit tired. Good, and ease out slowly, and we're going to change legs, okay? So again, that one, you'll probably find you can go a lot further than you might have been holding initially, okay? Shake the arms out if your arms are tired, shake your fingers out if your fingers are tired. Hook it around the other foot, ball of the foot, remember, not the arch, not the heel, and obviously make sure it's on far enough that it's not going to come and scalp you in the face. So this leg stays completely flush on the ground, it's completely relaxed. Good grip of your band or towel, and all I'm doing is pulling those toes towards me, falling back, and again, take it to the point in which you feel it contracts, okay, so the point in which it feels oofed. Lock that knee out, make sure the toes are relaxed and not fighting into the band, and once you've got that sorted out, that's when we take it further, okay, so now for the next couple of minutes, it's just down to you. You know exactly what you need to do, so just try to take it further, relax, focus on your breathing. As long as you don't just spend the next minute or so holding the same position, okay? You're trying to take it full. Get that knee locked out, Leslie. For the sake. Get that knee locked out. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so like I say, I'm trying to take it further and further and further. Make sure the toes are getting relaxed and pulled by the band and you're not pushing into it. Take it as far as you can. Right, when you're ready, get out of that one. Oof. Right, everybody. Again, walk around, shake out. Hopefully that'll feel a bit better, especially if you try to touch your toes. You should be starting to feel like you're moving a wee bit better already, okay? And then you go and sit down on your arse the rest of the day and completely undo all the hard work we've just done for the past hour. Which is what I'm about to do. I will not lie to you. Right, before we're finishing, we're not finishing. We need to get the lower body done. So we're going to get down, we're going to do that horrible one on the knees, where we're stretching out that muscle that runs up the front of your shin. And again, runners especially, this will get forgotten about. People who don't do this stretch, it's pretty uncomfortable regardless. The more you do it, the easier it gets. All I'm doing, I'm getting onto my knees. Purpose of this is making sure that your top of your foot's flat on the ground, okay? You're not sitting on the toes, okay? And make sure that you're not pushing the toes into the ground. All I'm trying to do is, when I'm in this position, you'll probably find there's a gap under there, okay? You can get your hand under. You're down at your ankles, okay? That's what I'm trying to get flat on the ground. That's what I'm trying to stretch out, okay? So now all I'm doing is I'm leaving enough room between my heels for my butt to be able to get down between them. And phase one of this is just simply sitting down. Sitting that butt down. It's as simple as that, okay? There's nothing complicated about it. Now, I'm breaking myself in gently with this one. I'm doing it in phases, so if you can go all the way back straight away, crack on. But all I'm doing for this first part, because it's feeling pretty tight, is just slowly introducing my body weight into it. So I'm slowly sinking my body into it. So I'm using my arms a wee bit to support my body weight. Because you'll find that if you are pretty tight and you just try to go too hardcore, you'll find that you just fight it and you end up in a horrible stress position. So all I'm doing, that's me pretty much got all the weight transitioned into here now. So this is pretty uncomfortable, I won't lie to you. Yep. Now I'm getting a good bit of weight down there. Now what I could do now to enhance it and to enhance the stretch is just simply come back here with my hands, okay? Now, if this is too uncomfortable for you, go back to the way we were at just before, okay? So this is where now I'm able to get a bit more weight down and stretch out those muscles a bit more. Now this is where you have to have your little checklist in your head. I want you to think about the foot and I want you to think about the ankles. Are they completely relaxed? Or are your toes driving into the ground to try and ease you out of this one because it's uncomfortable? This is where you have to do the work and you have to think about relaxing completely. Now, like I say, with this one, what you can do is glute bridge. So if you try to glute bridge up as if you were squeezing your butt through, you can bring the quads into it a wee bit, okay? You can bring the quads into it a wee bit. But again, just be careful that you're not turning it into a stress position. And yes, it's uncomfortable, okay? But what I mean by stress position is you're not holding something and your muscles are all tensing up and getting tired trying to hold you in this position, okay? We're trying our best to keep as many of the muscle groups relaxed. The only arms that are really, the only arms, give it away now, haven't I? The only muscle group that's really working here is your arms, okay? Because they're supporting our body weight. So your triceps are going to be a wee bit tired. But those legs should be completely and utterly relaxed, okay? So we should feel a damn good stretch here. And we're just going to slowly, again, get out of that one. And the more you do that one, you definitely, it's one of them, if you stay on top of it, you'll probably find it gets a bit easier to get into each time. Now what I want you to do is get up, walk around, and again, just let the blood flow, because that might feel a little bit uncomfortable in your ankles now. Speaking of which, we're going to do the ankles before we finish. So full body, head to toe today. Again, as always, I just base it off of how I'm feeling. These mobility sessions are tailored to me. I'm only kidding. I'm not really. Okay, so I've got my makeshift wall. Okay, I've got my beer keg. I like my beer keg for stretching out my ankles because it's solid and it doesn't move. A wall, if you're at home, is probably the best thing, or a step, or anything that you can simply do what I'm about to do now with my foot, and that's this. Okay, simply put something up. Put your toes up against it. I'm trying to get my heel nice and close to it. And it should feel wedged, okay? You shouldn't feel that your foot's going to slide down that wall, so you should feel pretty wedged. Once you've got that feeling where your foot's pretty anchored, then we're going to slightly bend the knee. Now, straight away, you might be feeling it. We're going to be feeling it down there, as always, Achilles type of tendon area into the ankle joint itself, okay? What I'm not trying to stretch out is the actual calf muscle, okay? It's more trying to mobilize the ankle joint itself, so you're going to feel this one in the ankle joint. Now, if it's real tight, you might not feel a stretch. You might just feel like it's a complete limited movement. You can't go any further. That's where I want you to persevere. Keep the knees slightly bent. Continue trying to get more of your body weight up on top of it. Give it a few bounces now and again, and when I say bounces, I just mean rock it a wee bit, and you might find that that just helps relax into it a bit more, because you might be fighting it because it's pretty uncomfortable. Keep holding it, keep persevering with it, and eventually I'm pretty confident you'll start to feel you're getting a stretch from it. Now remember, it's not just a stretch, it's mobilization, so we're going to feel it maybe in the ankle as well, the actual ankle joint. Now what am I doing? As you can see, I'm just slowly working my body weight up on top of it more, so I'm pushing my body weight down, while also trying to push that knee forwards, okay? So I'm getting this now, it's uncomfortable. Just like any other one, taking it as far as you can, okay? From start to finish, you should be in a much different place than when you started. We should be taking it further and further, trying to enhance it constantly, okay? So you can see that every so often I'm shifting closer to the wall, or the keg, or the step, to just try and get enhanced and get a greater stretch on there more. So we're doing well. Good, and I'm going to slowly ease out of that one, and this is where you'll probably feel that it is pretty uncomfortable when you do ease out. So walk around, shake it out, and then get these legs changed, okay? So change legs, exact same thing. Whatever surface you're using, trying to get the toes high up it, plant the heel, but trying to get the heel fairly close, okay? Because if the heel's far away, that's when you'll probably find it just, your foot just slides down and then you end up stretching out the toes. Okay, so I'm getting up nice and high. Slight bend in the knee. You might find one side's tighter than the other. So you might find this side's easier or harder. Again, I always like to, when I'm starting this one, just to give it a wee wobble, give that knee a wee rock, and it just helps. Identify if you're fighting it, okay? Because straight away you'll feel that you're not relaxed when you do that, but also it helps us relax a wee bit. Don't spend the whole stretch bouncing the stretch. We don't want to bounce the stretch. We want static holds, taking it further throughout the movement, throughout the time, sorry. Trying to take it further and further and further. So again, take it further, trying to just shift more weight onto it, pushing the knee more forward, enhancing the stretch any way you can. Feeling it probably more than anything in the actual joint of the ankle itself. Down all this, feeling probably more like you're getting tendons and ligaments rather than just muscle. And this will conclude our full body overhaul, okay? So it really has been. Okay, like I say, we've picked the target areas, the areas that usually do require a bit of work. I've picked the best stretches for them, rather than do 2 or 3 per area. We've just gone head to toe. Tuesday, got a training week ahead of us. So hopefully this is just giving you a wee bit of a kind of overhaul and made you feel a wee bit better, okay? So that is us, we're done, well done. And thank you very much for following. That is it. Again, off the topic, not really following a system as such anymore, but next time will probably be upper body. Okay, so we're still keeping that 3-day, 3-session kind of rotation going round, and then every so often mixing it up a wee bit. So we full body, as I say, hopefully that's just made you feel a bit better all over. Okay, fresh blood in the muscles, stretched the muscles out, improved your range of movement, and got you feeling a bit better. But that is us, job done. Thank you very much for coming. Enjoy your day.